Hello everyone, my name's Dean, let's talk crypto. This is where you subscribe for daily Bitcoin updates and technical analysis. We track the price of Bitcoin as a proxy for the cryptocurrency markets at large. Today is January 27th, 2025. And today I'm going to talk to you about why I'm expecting a move up in crypto this week. Right? Specifically, I'm expecting something like a 10% move thereabouts in Bitcoin this week. I'm going to talk to you about why I'm expecting it this week. So why am I'm putting a time constraint on it? Why I'm, putting myself in that situation to say, yes, in this period of time, this will happen. We all know how that typically works out in crypto, right? I'm also going to talk about why I'm expecting a much bigger move in many altcoins, not all altcoins, but many altcoins, right? And what that much bigger move looks like and why I'm expecting that much bigger move, right? Triple digit gains in some of these altcoins. So we're going to talk about all that and more. Guys, I want to just say from the outset, you have to stay focused. If you're worried about, politics, geopolitics, and some random AI project in China, and, what people have to say about it and how people try to make everything have to do with the current price action, trying to explain what's happening based off of what's happening in the news, you're just going to get confused that much more. Just stay focused. The charts are telling you exactly what's going on, what's likely to happen. It's just your job to be able to read it, all right? And to that end, for those of you in the crypto portfolio consultation and mentorship service, I will be sending you renewed targets for the altcoins that you're participating in. We've got more data. What's data? Data are candlesticks, right, in our business. The more candlesticks print, the more information you have, the more refined your conclusions could be. And so we have more information, and I have more confidence to say, yes, I believe that some of these targets are more likely than not to be hit in this way. And that's money in your pockets. So I really want to be careful with that. I really want to be as precise as possible. So I'm going to be sending you extra emails about that. Now, let's get into why I'm thinking Bitcoin is likely to go up this week. All right. We're on the 4-hourly time frame, and we're looking at this setup that we've been looking at for the past 60 plus days. That hasn't changed, okay? Look, we can talk about the past 60 days, but actually the most important thing to talk about is what's happening here. What's been happening since late December. And since late December, Bitcoin's been in this conical structure. Okay, very clearly, let me draw that out, hitting the tops and bottoms of this conical structure. Most recently, we came down to the midline of the cone. Okay, for those of you who watch the channel, you know where I'm going with this. You can't even think of leaving the bounds of a channel, which a conical structure is also a different type of channel, without retesting the midline, okay? And that's what we're doing here. So from here, which is the support level of this, I don't know how long this is, the support level of this 40-day channel, right? Because the midline support when you're above it, resistance when you're below it, you can then even think about retesting the top or breaking the top. So this is why I'm seeing Bitcoin moving back towards the top of this channel, right? So at the very least, we're coming back up to the 108 region. But I think what we're going to do is wick above it, okay? In one last effort, one last hurrah, as it were, before finding our way back down much lower, okay? And we're not even going to talk about all of that. We're just going to restrict our analysis to what's likely to happen next, right? Lots of people are going to get really excited about this 10+% move in Bitcoin because they're going to think that it's the start of a bull run. It's if you're bullish on Bitcoin at this level, even at this time, and you can't feel the bearishness, the distribution, the corrective nature of this price action, I don't know what to tell you. That is what you've been feeling. Bitcoin kind of dilly-dallying, indecisive, rejected every 2 seconds from whatever resistance. That is not what you feel in a bull market. Okay? Also, let me reiterate the fact that you're underneath this 40-day resistance. You're currently underneath this 40-day resistance. And you actually, remember we were talking about the 3 resistances Bitcoin is currently under, the 3 major resistances. Okay, you also have this one. We were saying, okay, maybe when we're at this point, maybe you break this resistance, but then you also have this resistance, and then you also have this resistance. It didn't even get past the first one. This one's a 40-day resistance. This one's a 70-day resistance. This one's a 70-day resistance. This one's another 70-day resistance. Guys, like, to each their own. Be bullish on whatever you want, however you want. But the chart is clearly telling you, right? You're likely going to get rejected. It's a question of how and when. Okay? Now, why am I talking about this week? Well, we just retested the midline of the channel, okay, for more liquidity, so more ammo, if you will, to come back up and, push up. So the sellers, right, sold off. A lot of sellers sold off here. And now buyers can step in and balance this a bit. Now you're going to go likely back into, back into the resistance, not only this resistance, but also this resistance. And why am I saying 10+% or 10% thereabouts? It's because our previous read of this price action was such that I was saying, and you see these numbers here, there's 3 before there's 2 and 1. What does that refer to if you didn't see the previous videos? Well, I'm referring to the numbers of breaks of structure. You can look at distribution channels, right? And by distribution channel, I'm referring to the Wyckoff theory of distribution. You can look it up. You can also look at that in context of Elliott wave AB base theory, which stipulates needing 2 to 3, actually 3, let's be clear, 3 pairs of AB bases to complete an accumulation or a distribution, right? Any consolidation is comprised of 3 components. This is AB base theory. And I like AB base theory because in Wyckoff analysis, it's great. You can look at it, but it's more schematic. In Elliott wave analysis, using the AB base theory, we can look, count, and measure. And this is where I'm getting to my 10% thereabouts move in Bitcoin, because my third break of structure, and again, you have here what I count as my first break of structure, my first counter, my second break of structure, my second counter, all of this, my second break of structure, and all this was my second counter. That was an elaborate second counter. You tend to see super elaborate counters either in the second or third position. It's not out of the ordinary, but just so you can get your head around it, this is why counting corrective patterns is very difficult. Even if you know all of this, it doesn't make it any easier, because how are you supposed to know that your second counter looks so complicated, right? You could have counted this as your second counter and been done with it, but that was just the first part of it, right? Look at that. As I read it now, right? Just assuming that's correct. Again, you never know until it's over, really, and then you can read it. When you backtest, you typically read it after the fact, and then it makes sense, but it only makes sense after the fact while it's happening, it's almost impossible to read. But, you do your best, and that's all we're doing here. But assuming this is my third break, now I can measure my third counter. And that's exactly what I did in the previous episode, saying that if this is indeed my third break of structure, I know that my third counter cannot exceed 115. Okay, so $115 per Bitcoin. And that's why I have this A, B, C as my third counter. As you can see, it's very likely we put in my first, the A wave of the counter, of the third counter, the B wave of the third counter, taking us to this midline, and now we're waiting for the C wave. And again, that C wave can go all the way up to 115. It's unlikely to go all the way to the phi ratio because that's invalidating. But typically, in my experience, strong C waves in flat corrections come up to around the 1236, right beyond or right below the 1236 Fibonacci extension. So that is where I'm getting my estimate of Bitcoin doing something like a 10-ish% move this week. Now, let's talk about the timing, because that's always problematic. And I'm not doing myself any favors, because the second I give a time prediction, people are like, it didn't happen when you said it did. You're full of it. I knew it. You're a fraud, blah, blah, blah. Yes, okay. I don't care. I say what I like to say, and I don't really hide things based off of the possibility that I may be wrong. I don't mind being wrong. I'm fine with it. It's, I'm doing my best, and I think that it's likely to happen this week because this week is a new moon event. I know some of you all may be chuckling. Moon phases. Yeah. Watch this. If you don't know anything about the moon phases, let me show you. Let's do it on the daily time frame. So the moon phases. What are the moon phases? So the moon phase theory stipulates that on the new moon, Bitcoin and, financial assets hit local market tops. On the full moon, they hit local market bottoms. I just turned on an indicator that has the full moons designated as the white circles, new moons as blue X's, okay? And here you can see that there is something here, apparently. Let's go out even further, just so you guys can see. Right, here we go. So I turn on the indicator. Again, new moons, X's, full moons, white circles. And again, the full moons designate local market bottoms according to this moon cycle theory that is based off of data from the traditional markets, 100 plus years of traditional market data. And, serious institutions, universities, nonprofits have done this. You can look at the literature with a high degree of probability to a random statistical significant nature, right? Or to a non-random statistically significant extent that, new moons represent local market tops. And you can see that here, these X's seem to all designate the tops of these local markets, right? Look, the X's are all on top, and the white circles are more likely than not, or by and large, all on the bottom. So I would not be surprised if this week the new moon is the 29th, and the data stipulates that 0 to 3 days after the lunar event, you get the top or the bottom. So I think Wednesday's the 29th. Yeah, today's the 27th, Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday is 29th. So that means 0 to 3 days after. That means you could get it on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You can get that local market top. So that just makes sense to me that sometime this week, that basically tells me as a trader, as an analyst, sometime this week with high degree of probability to a non-random statistically significant uh, to a statistically significant uh, extent, I should get my local market top, and it's likely going to be somewhere here in and around this resistance, or in and around this resistance. I'm guessing it's going to be in and around this resistance, the bottom of this 70-day channel. So that's where I get Bitcoin going to around 110, 12, 13K this week, giving us our local market top right there. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Meanwhile, and this is not even the most interesting thing, because we've been talking about Bitcoin getting its let me turn this indicator off. We've been talking about Bitcoin reaching the end of this likely distribution event, right? For a while. And so, for those of you who are bullish on Bitcoin, I mean, I'm bullish on it as well, but not in the immediate short term. I mean, just look at this price action. I can't say enough. If you don't get it, if you don't see the bearishness there, whatever. That's to each his own, or her own. That's more likely than not happening. But the more interesting thing is what's happening in the altcoin space. And we've talked about this, and it's still true. Our resistance in Bitcoin dominance is holding, okay? Still hasn't broken down, but it's holding. It's basically preventing Bitcoin dominance from reaching higher highs, okay? Again, on the really high time frame, Bitcoin dominance is at a top. You're literally at a 10-year resistance with this, descending resistance right here, and you're forming a massive head and shoulders here, okay? A massive head and shoulders bearish resistance pattern. On the smaller time frames, you are at or under 100-day resistance, and that 100-day resistance was previous support, this dashed line that you see here. Sorry, not 100 days, 180 days, right? So it was support for Bitcoin dominance. It dropped, now it's resistance. And so we're expecting that first move down, and that first move down is likely going to be supported around 54%. And again, for those of you who don't know, who are new to this channel, we look at Bitcoin dominance because it allows us to know or understand when altcoins start beating Bitcoin out. So if we talk about Bitcoin making a 10% move in a Bitcoin dominant atmosphere environment, you don't expect much more from altcoins, right? Bitcoin does 10%, altcoins do 10% if they're lucky, right? 12%, 13%, something like that. But when Bitcoin dominance goes down, that's basically showing you, telling you that altcoins can do multitudes, magnitudes of what Bitcoin's doing, because it's kind of unfettered. And this is what you see in a bull market. And it's not going to be every altcoin, but the altcoins we've been discussing on this channel that are at support, with 25 to 30,000 altcoins in this space, in the cryptocurrency space. Most of them have yet to make gains, serious gains, right, in this cycle, or I don't know, I don't want to call it a cycle, but they have yet to wake up from their bear market lows. So a lot of them are going to start moving according to what we're seeing on this Bitcoin dominance chart. And again, when Bitcoin dominance goes down, that basically means Bitcoin's less dominant with respect to its market cap dominance in the entire cryptocurrency space. The less market cap dominance it has basically means altcoins gain against Bitcoin in market cap dominance when Bitcoin dominance goes down. This is our indicator to let us know when altcoins start moving kind of with impunity against Bitcoin. So even if Bitcoin dominance, if Bitcoin goes up 3%, altcoins can go up 40%, 50%, and not bat an eye. So it's kind of like they're untethered from whatever Bitcoin is or isn't doing. Quick example, I'm just going to give one that's on support here. Let's look at this. So in what I've been looking at for myself, for clients, a lot of these altcoins look like they have a 5 to 6x in them. Okay? Again, it's not all altcoins. Don't talk to me about Ethereum. Don't talk to me about Cardano. Don't talk to me about a lot of these altcoins that have already done their move up out of their bear market consolidations, right? Don't talk to me about HBAR. Don't talk to me about XLM. If the chart looks something like this, then these are not the altcoins I'm discussing that I'm seeing a 5 to 6x in. Yeah? These are at resistance. They're more likely than not going to go up for their final move in their distribution, kind of like what Bitcoin's doing before coming back down, retesting crucial support levels before continuing up. I'm talking about those altcoins that are in their bear market accumulations. Look at this, for instance, API 3. I think this is an Oracle, kind of like Chainlink. And you can see this is the bear market drawdown. This is a bear market accumulation. You're still in the bear market accumulation zone. So the next move, the next logical move is to break this descending resistance. You break it and then you retest it. This would be a great place to take profit, right? And again, just looking at that move in this target, in this token, again, I see this consistently, a 5 to 6x. A 5 to 6x. Could that happen in the time Bitcoin goes 10, 13%? Maybe. Maybe it doesn't happen exactly in that time period, but all I know is that if you do start to go impulsive, the definition of an impulse is that the time it takes for the first wave is the same time it takes for the second wave. So whatever happens here happens relatively quickly. Okay, so even if Bitcoin starts its descent, right, it may still happen that you get your 5 to 6x. All right, let's give another example. Let's use a basic attention token. So this one, is a browser token. I think a lot of crypto people use this as a browser for safety or whatever, and you can gather rewards in using it. But again, you see bear market declension, bear market sideways accumulation. If the altcoin that you're looking at to try and take advantage of this move this week, more likely than not this week, has this kind of price action where it's kind of stuck in its bear market accumulation, you're likely to put in the move I'm talking about. Again, so here you've been in a range since December of 2022. You just retested the midline of the range, so now you can leave the top of the range. So I think something like this would make sense. Something around here, actually. Around 80 cents. And the reason I did that is because, so after testing the midline, retesting the midline of a channel, and we talked about this earlier in the video, now you can leave the boundaries of the channel. The next step is, once you leave, you come back and retest the top as support, okay? Two things why I like around 80 cents. One, if I'm taking my Fibonacci retracement tool from the top to the bottom of this right here, right, this bear market drawdown, this is an impulse. Look, the phi ratio, the 0.618, is resistance when you're below it, support when you're above it, okay? So I'm currently below the phi ratio, so it's going to be resistance when I'm below it. So I'm hitting it, and I'm likely to find some resistance when I hit it, okay? The second reason, and I didn't even do that. If you notice, I'm just doing this on the fly with you. I didn't measure this beforehand, but the way I got 80 cents was simply to think, okay, once I leave the boundaries of the channel, my next step is to retest the multi-year channel resistance, the channel's resistance, which is the top of the channel, as support. And in order to do that mathematically, I can't go too far past 80 cents. So that's why 80 cents is my target. And let's see what kind of gain that would yield from where we're at. That's about a 270, 280% move. So, you know, some of them 500, some of them 300, all right? But few 100%. I would not be surprised if Basic Attention Token gave you 80 cents, your 280% move during the time where Bitcoin made that move up, and that would be consistent with our Bitcoin dominance coming down from these levels. Okay, so those are just two quick examples of what I'm seeing in the cryptocurrency market. Again, that's why I think Bitcoin is going up to about 110, 112 ish this week, why I think it's happening this week, and what I think is going to happen in altcoins. Finally, the sentiment is very low in altcoins, in Bitcoin. We've been going down in altcoins. I mean, this is the weekly chart. This is now, right, if you just look at this, about 56, 60 days of down and sideways, okay? And pure downward price action has been happening for about a month, okay? So this is exactly when buyers start to step in and sellers get exhausted, because we're not necessarily in a bear market. Obviously, in a bear market, it goes and goes and goes and goes, but we're at the bottom of the bear market. And so after moves like this, after great periods of downwards and sideways, you do get reliefs. And this is the relief to end all relief, because this is the breakout of your bear market accumulation as far as I'm seeing it. Guys, if you got value, please like, share, and subscribe. Consider tipping me by sending me Venmo, sending me Litecoin, sending me Cash App. And do consider joining my crypto portfolio consultation and mentorship service, all at the pinned comment below. Again, I help you with entries and exit of for up to 5 assets, and it's one-on-one with me, 1 to 2 hours every month. And you can sign up for that at the pinned comment below. Guys, I hope you're well. Take care, and I'll see you later. Bye.
Love you.